The soul of successful selling bears repetition not only because of my intense interest in and dedication to our wonderful profession, but because the soul of successful selling could find no better place for expression than here among members of the life underwriting family. We have placed millions of dollars of life insurance. Pretty cold words when you say it just like that. But let's stop for a moment and think about the meaning. You will find no cold words or lifeless figures, but a demonstration of love. Every signature on every application is the greatest manifestation of man's devotion to his family. Every time a young married man says yes to you, he is saying to his young wife, I love you so much, I want to make sure I prove my love even after death does us part. Every time a father says yes to you, he feels burning within him a father's love for his little Johnny, Christopher, and Claudia. Yes, Daddy loves them so much, he wants to perpetuate that love by providing for his little ones not only for today, but for that uncertain tomorrow when time might run out prematurely. Every time an older man said yes to you, he is thinking of his lifetime partner, that girl whose confidence he would never let down. I want Mary to have a practical demonstration of what she has meant to me right to her last day. Of all the people who ever catered to mankind's material needs, no man can ever begin to compare his work with our work. We help to remove the fear of the future in so many individuals, whether it is fear of death, disability, or old age, by fulfilling their desire and need for financial security. At the stroke of a pen, we provide one of the most vital forces existing in the economic and social welfare of our nation. With a conviction so genuine it penetrated the hearts of all who heard, the great evangelist Billy Sunday said, "Next to my faith in God, which will give me the most comfort when I die, will be to know that I carried life insurance that would take care of my family. I don't believe a man does the square thing unless he provides for his wife and children, so that he can shuffle off this mortal soil one day without leaving his wife to manicure her nails on somebody else's washboard. I think life insurance is one of the best institutions on God's earth." Did you choose a life underwriting career merely for the monetary reward? Or were you impressed by the scope of public service that it offers? Did you see yourself as a respected counselor who could be entrusted with the personal plans, aspirations, and hopes of your fellow man? Or were you right from the very beginning a natural for this business? What do I mean by a natural? Let me tell you the story of one I knew. Many years ago, in a small Sicilian village, a young man, eager, ambitious, madly in love with his dark-eyed sweetheart, expressed to her his intimate dreams. They would marry, leave their native Italy, go to a land of promise, to America. Michele's dreams of marrying Rosa and coming to America were realized. They prayed for sons and daughters, and God did send them children, 6 of them. So Michele worked hard to provide food, shelter, and clothing. By scrimping and saving, they acquired enough money to make possible the next step in the fulfillment of their dreams, a shop for Michele. Michele was a very proud and happy man because he knew he would be the father of educated children. Many times, Michele would pick up his 4 little boys and say, "My little bambini, Daddy, he's a work hard because Daddy wants to make you very, very happy. Pietro, you work hard at school. Someday you're going to be a doctor. Charlie, you talk too much. Your daddy going to make you a lawyer. Mama says you, Johnny, going to be a priest. And you, Peppino, you going to be a teacher. Yes, Michele dreamed. But as happens every day, fate ordained otherwise. One bright spring morning, Michele left his home for his little shop, never to come back again, never to dream again, but to leave behind him a nightmare. Time ran out suddenly, unexpectedly. Rosa was left alone in a strange country, with a strange language, strange customs, which were to become all the more strange when she was to see her loved ones deprived of so many necessities. Funny thing about dreams, it takes dollars to make them come true. Believe me, I know what a premature death means. I heard Rosa cry as she scrubbed other people's clothes, and even as I lay in bed, I heard her cry. Not only did I hear her cry, but I too made her cry, because she was my mother and I was so very, very young. I didn't do anything bad. I only asked for little things that other kiddies with fathers took for granted. Can you imagine that first Christmas after my father died? I was awakened by my mother as she placed in my arms a little wooden train, telling me that because I was a good boy, Santa Claus left this wonderful train just for me. I was proud of that train. The bright red paint on the cars was quite a contrast to the jet black engine. Golly, was I proud of that train. Why, I couldn't get dressed fast enough to go show it to my pal Johnny. Johnny was my pal, but he was pampered, spoiled. He had a father, and a father meant income. Things to be had just by asking. Look, Johnny, look what Santa Claus brought me. A real train. Gee, Johnny, look. Come up to my bedroom and see what Santa Claus brought me, replied Johnny. There was the most wonderful electric train in the world, with bridges and tunnels and everything. I didn't say a thing. I ran out into the snow without even stopping for my hand-me-down coat and overshoes. With my little boy's heart too broken to shed tears, I reached home and smashed that train into 100 pieces at my mother's feet. Give this back to Santa Claus. I don't want it. I don't want it. I've been a good boy, Mum, just like you said. And Santa gave me a cheap wooden train. Why, Mummy? Why? Natural? Are you beginning to see what I mean? If ever I forget that first Christmas, I shall never forget how my mother gathered the 6 of her children around her and with tears and a broken heart told us that there was no Santa Claus. You see, the law of life says either there must be a man at work or dollars at work. When there is neither dollars nor man at work, there must be misery, heartaches, tears. As life underwriter, you have a noble mission to perform, to prevent suffering, neglect, and broken hearts of little boys and little girls. Because you have the ideal safeguard, your every word must come from the very depth of your soul to motivate men into action. You don't have to be a natural to be a good life underwriter. You do not have to be stricken with tragedy to put your soul into your work. You have only to believe you represent one of the best institutions on God's earth. You have a service with a soul to offer. There is absolutely no substitute for life insurance. If you're not 100% sold, You need only to visualize life insurance in action. Consider for a while the scope of our wonderful work. For the poor man, it is the only way he can make his will before he makes his money. For the rich man, it preserves the fruits of his labor after he is gone. For widows and orphans, it eases suffering and despair. For the old man and woman, it guarantees a twilight filled with the comfort of being wanted. For the world, it means better citizens. It makes sure of a mother's full-time care during the early impressionable years when young ones need a mother's care so very much. Do you realize what a strong force against juvenile delinquency we represent? Do you know, too, that we, as life underwriters, have indirectly won and are winning wars to eradicate malignant growths in the family of nations? We play no small part in building the industrial might and cultural growth of our nation. Have you stopped to consider just how much of men's estates are earmarked for the training of clergymen and for the support of missions and schools? What better way can your prospect, with a goodly amount of religious zeal, further the cause he firmly upholds? Yes, there are many, many naturals in our profession. Otherwise, how could humanity's needs be so well satisfied? Much soul-provoking inspiration can be received from the older salesmen whose service to mankind would make bestsellers. These dedicated men and women have already seen life insurance at work. There is happiness where there might have been despair. Young men and women are prepared in colleges to take their place in a world where an education is no longer a luxury. There is no need for Christmas, birthday, or anniversary to pass without the remembrance that would be there had the provider not passed away. Each and every month, the mailman brings to thousands and thousands of older men and women the fruits of their foresight, the seed of which was planted by the older salesman. Their efforts now stand as a living memorial to their work. Does any other job offer more opportunity and inspiration to put your soul into your work? Talk about the greats in baseball, the arts, and the drama. We too have our greats, whose achievement, though not so publicly acclaimed, have nevertheless been inscribed in indelible letters of love in the grateful hearts of a well-served humanity. Along with our heroes, we have, if I may use the word, our saints. The strength of Paul Spiker's pen will immortalize him to thousands who found in his written word inspiration which could come only from such truly greats, whom I take the privilege of calling saints. Even now, and among us here, are the making of great men, the saints of our profession. If you new men feel uncertain, I would like to reassure you. That feeling is a normal one. Yes, like you, I also was tried by life insurance. In the very beginning, my friends gave me not the slightest encouragement. In fact, many predicted I would starve. Believe me, it has been sweet starvation. The field was overcrowded. You'll lose prestige. People will slam doors in your face. Thank God, I was blessed with a branch manager who gave me both encouragement and inspiration. Yet, he made no attempt to push me into the business. The decision must be yours. It must come from within. Within, there were still so many conflicting ideas that had to be channeled into positive thinking. Conflicts, worries, doubts are all part of every new life underwriter. Only by continuous effort, coupled with the guidance of your branch manager, will you overcome your doubts and fears, slowly at first, but with ever-increasing momentum, as you grow in experience and develop your strong points. Success, while not easy, is possible to everyone who will pay the price. The only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. Nowhere else. You must strive, aspire, work. Let me say again and again, work. Work hard and perspire. Exercise the courage to give this mission the chance it merits so well. Build within yourself the dedication, the love of humanity, the burning desire to prevent suffering and despair. And one day, as if by magic, a transformation will take place. A transformation made possible by no magic, but by inspired vision and hard, effective work for which there is no substitute. On that day, your work will gain a soul. Edward Frank Stepp once wrote a little article that displays so much evidence of inspired vision, I feel I should repeat part of it for you. It's called No Man Has to Buy Life Insurance. No man has to buy life insurance. It is merely the intelligent and wise thing to do. But no man is compelled to be wise and intelligent. This is a choice which he must make for himself. One time, I had a wise guy try to spoil a sale. He butted into the conversation to say that he just didn't believe in life insurance. Fortunately, it struck me as funny, and I laughed. Then, I calmly repeated the words I have often used. Not only was the sale not lost, but I made a believer out of the dissenter. No doubt you think I should resent your not believing in life insurance. Not at all. I don't know whether you should believe in life insurance or not. I never talked to you before, and I won't have the time now as I am talking to a client. But at least I can tell you why I don't know whether or not you should believe in life insurance. Life insurance is not for every man. It is much too important for that. It is not for the man of little faith, the man who is not going anywhere, or the man who is so lacking in normal human emotions that he does not love someone. I don't know whether you're such a man or not. You see, life insurance is only for the man who is going places and has faith in himself. He must have the wisdom to choose a type of property that will do certain things and do them in a way and with a certainty that nothing else can. That is why only smart men buy it. Let me repeat. No man has to buy life insurance. It is merely the wise and intelligent thing to do. But no man is compelled to be wise and intelligent. That is a choice which he has to make for himself. And, as life underwriter, it is your job to aid him in his decision. There is absolutely no substitute for life insurance. As life underwriter, you do not deliver policies, but peace of mind and security. Your words are not mere mechanical words, part of a well-rehearsed sales talk, but strong, forceful words that motivate the toughest, wealthiest, coldest prospect, simply because you radiate such confidence in your service that your convictions reach out and sink into the heart of every one of your prospects. Now, push your go button and go to it. Be proud of your work and knock at every door. You have a story to tell that must be told. Tell your prospect that you can do more for him than any other man that he will meet today. Don't just say, "I'll call later, Mrs. Smith." Tell her who you are. This is Bill Brown. I'm an income replacement engineer. and I must speak with your husband. I have set aside for him Tuesday night at 8:30. You have peace of mind and guaranteed security to offer. Don't be apologetic. Right then and there, you eliminate competitors closing a sale ahead of you. Be sure that you tie up that prospect as soon as you qualify him. Not next week, but today. If you're booked solid this week, book him for next week. When you see Mr. Prospect, put your soul into your presentation. Open up and really let him have it. He has a need. He has the cash. If the ticker beats well within his breast, close him, even if you have to insult him. I mean insult. Any man who claims to love his family and does not provide for them is a stinker. Tactfully tell him so. At first with the help of a visual aid, and later with a motivating story. Recently, a great loss was sustained by our community in the death of one Joseph Maloney. Joseph Maloney was known and loved by everyone for his deeds of charity and participation in church and civic functions. People jammed the church and cemetery to pay their last respects to this great man. Yet, merely 1 week after his death, those same people who praised his virtues turned their praise to condemnation. This great man, who always gave to any worthy cause, neglected to provide for the greatest cause of all, his own flesh and blood, his wife and children. Great man? No. Charity begins at home. The admiration of his fellow men turned to criticism, and justly so. Time and time again, Joe Maloney thundered no to life insurance. That no will thunder forever in the lives of those he left behind. Under our laws, the man bears the responsibility for the welfare and protection of his family. Until his children are self-supporting, they are his responsibility. There is no way of putting him in prison after he is dead, but the sin before the Almighty is just as great. Joe Maloney was my friend, and because he was my friend, I did not thunder back. While Joe Maloney failed to provide for his family, I, to just as great an extent, failed him, his widow, and his children. As often as I see Mrs. Maloney, my failure is mirrored in my conscience. If only I had persisted, if only I had not accepted no, what a different story I could tell. I failed the Maloney. Please God, I shall never fail my fellow man again. I will solicit the courage and persistence that will not accept no for an answer. If motivating stories and visuals fail, I repeat, insult him. I haven't been thrown out of any home yet. If your soul is in your work, if your conviction of purpose displays genuine sincerity, an insult will produce results. If still there is no immediate sale, don't go away empty-handed. Remember, he has a need, he has the money. Record his birthday, his wife's, his children. Get information concerning friends, employers, employees, nephews, nieces, aunts. After sending visuals, clippings, additional attempts to soften up by mail, forget about him until his next age change. Then go at him again. If again you are unsuccessful, keep sending birthday and age change cards. Too often, the toughest character is softened up for another agent from another company to easily push over. Remember, your number one enemy is insufficient and inefficient prospecting activity. Prospecting is simply repeating whom do you know, where, when. And if you can't ask these simple questions, I'm really sorry for you. Be on the alert for opportunities for future cultivation. Birthdays and delivering of contracts offer many such opportunities. A Christmas, anniversary, or birthday policy is no frill. A whole presentation is right in that simple suggestion which paints a picture that's bound to appeal to any man. The idea of sending back a remembrance to his loved ones on that very special occasion. Tell the prospect who wants to wait for a while that your three persistent competitors, death, disability, old age, will not wait. And point out that in the end, life insurance is always paid for, whether he buys it or not. Urge him to make sure his family is protected to the best of his financial ability. To the prospect who says, I don't believe in life insurance, the future is too uncertain, I use this story effectively. One time, Billy Sunday delivered a sermon on hell. When he finished, one of the congregation came up to his pulpit and said, Reverend, that was a mighty fine sermon. Only I just don't believe in hell. All right, said Billy. You don't believe in hell, and I do. We both die. There is no hell. I am no worse off than you. But suppose we both die, and there is a hell. Then, where in hell are you? May I repeat, whenever you don't close, don't go home empty-handed. Be sure to get names and information about friends, and then let your unsold prospect know by means of a little note similar to this. Dear Mr. Brown, your friend Mr. Smith was most grateful that I called last night. Indirectly, he has you to thank for that peace of mind and security that has been provided by means of a policy similar to the one that I proposed for you and which you turned down. Thank you very much for your assistance. Yours sincerely. Do you attempt to close often? Above all, do you close early? Many sales are lost because the underwriter talks too much and attempts closing too late. Some salesmen are so busy selling they do not give the buyer a chance to buy. You can't catch a fish unless you let him open his mouth. Samson killed 10,000 with the jawbone of an ass. Today, many salesmen talk themselves out of sales with the same weapon. Remember, nature gave man 2 ears and 1 mouth. He is supposed to listen twice as much as he talks, otherwise he would have 2 mouths and 1 ear. We talked about motivating the prospect. How about motivating ourselves? The successful underwriter not only knows that he can't sell without know-how and that knowledge is worthless unless he applies it and works hard, but more important, he is enthusiastic about what he is selling. He believes that any man who can't be enthusiastic about life insurance should, in all fairness to himself and to the company he represents, sell something else or get entirely out of the selling field. You've simply got to be enthusiastic. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, first remember your Creator. Ask for His guidance in your day's work. Then waltz right up to your mirror, as droopy and sleepy as you may be. Look squarely at yourself and shout at the top of your voice, LoBosco, you're the best doggone salesman in the world. Then go to it. You have a story to tell. one that's so good that you're just dying to tell it, and show it off by making good creative calls. Just as you leave your home at 7:30 in the morning, look in that mirror again and shout even louder than the first time. LoBosco, you master salesman, you. Why, you're the best doggone salesman that ever moved upon this wonderful earth. Go out, create, serve, produce, to the extent that each morning you bounce out of bed, ever more anxious to tell your mirror what a heck of a good salesman you are. 'Tis oh so true. As a man believeth, so is he. You may have the plushiest office, equipped with dictaphone machines, inter-office comms, and beautiful stenographers. You may belong to the best service, social, and political groups. You may give generously to charity. You may be the ideal citizen, the man of the year. But all these things will not sell life insurance. Interviews, and only interviews, effective closing interviews with qualified prime brand prospects whom you ask to buy each and every day, are the only things in the world that spell success in our business and nothing else. When you sit in your office later than 9 a.m., you are either one of those MDRT experts who won't talk to anybody who doesn't have a bankroll of at least $100,000, or you've got holes in your head as you sit there writing the final chapter of the death of a salesman. Confucius expounded these same sentiments when he said, "Salesmen who sit in chair, always on bottom." In this life we must either work or worry. I prefer to work. If you are not making a good living today, and a darn good one at that, you just aren't making the calls. It's as simple as that. And you have no one to blame but yourself. Get out and make calls. Increase your efficiency by spending more time planning your calls and organizing your work. There is no limit to earning power in our profession. It's up to you to do your best. You owe it to yourself to use your talents today and every day. Tomorrow might be too late. You might bump into someone with no brains and no brakes. You might be stricken with a crippling disease. What then? Would your conscience say, "I worked, I tried, or I squandered? I squandered my time and my talents." To form the success habit takes determination and perseverance. Draw on your tremendous source of energy. There isn't a single salesman who doesn't, one time or another, need a shot in the arm or a kick in the pants to wake up and work. No man is perfect. The real test is in doing the best you can. You must strive, aspire, and work. Success must be in your dreams, your hopes, your prayers. Be confident that you represent one of the best institutions on God's earth. If you firmly believe in yourself, your company, and your profession, if you put your soul into your work every hour of every day, backed by a burning desire to be of service to your fellow man, you may be sure that when the great score comes upon your name, he will surely say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." Now, with the love of God and for the love of man, go to it. Bowing down to defeat is cowardice. To triumph over failure is achievement in the highest form. Raise your eyes to the heights and reach for the stars. Back your inspired vision with your body and your soul. This is the secret of the soul of successful sailing.